And
Oh man,
we are recording.
yeah. So yeah, man.
Let me throw the note taker out because it's not really necessary since we're
Yeah,
recording.
I gotta start taking those guys out because some meetings is okay, but some meetings it isn't.
Yeah, there you go. It's gone. Good.
So I just had a meeting with the CEO and founder of Cashflow Portal. Really nice guy. Um, I asked him to record the meeting. And once he sends it to me, I'll send it to you guys because he kind of gave me a walkthrough of the CRM for Cashflow Portal.
Okay.
Um, and at the end, he was like, "Hey, you guys have any questions?" Because Marianne was on the call. And I was like, "Yeah, man, one last thing. Give me a word of wisdom for raising capital, right? Because this guy has raised millions and he owns like 1,000 doors.
That's
Really sharp guy." And he said, "You know what? It's incredibly hard to raise capital in today's environment. So what I would say is give yourself grace.
mm,
You know, don't be so hard on yourself. It's really challenging, right? So that was good because we see that right now it's really hard to raise funds. And then he also said, you know, we want to give investors, you know, high returns and pref and stuff, but I would recommend just making sure you stay alive as a company.
okay.
Yeah, stay alive as a company. If you can give prep, that's good. But yeah, just focus on staying afloat at least just for now, right? So I was like, yeah, thanks for that. You know, because a lot of times we beat ourselves up because we can't. You know, it's hard to raise funds for a certain deal, but you know, the climate's different, right?
Yeah.
People, LPs, you know, they have their reasons to be cautious, right? So yeah, just a reminder, give yourself some grace.
Yeah. Exactly. So I just got a call here. Yeah, I mean, I think like I mentioned yesterday in our call, I mean, now it's separation season. It's really average giving up right now when things get really tough. It's not like we are struggling, but it's just like, okay, the next deals, how do we fund them? You know, because raising capital really is becoming more and more difficult. But I think that's when many are giving up, and then that's when the rock stars prevail. I think we definitely are one of them. So I don't see any indication that anybody wants to give up. We're just feeling it. It's a little more difficult right now. And normally, you know, it's a spectrum, right? So normally, like, the deals are easy to find, but it's hard to raise capital. And then it goes the other way, and it's easy to raise capital, but everybody's chasing the same deals, you know. So I think we will get into that season pretty soon. So raising capital will be easier because everybody's like, "Oh, real estate is awesome." You know, I'll put all my money into real estate because it's like off the chain, and then like everybody's chasing the same deals, and then it's gonna be like, man, we can't find deals right now. Whereas everybody's overbidding them. So I think we always gonna have one or two problems. It's never gonna be this perfect medium where it's gonna be easy to make deals and where it's gonna be easy to raise money at the same time. It's gonna be always one that's gonna be harder. But I think the longer we're in it and actually doing it, both will become easier, more natural to us.
I think there are ways to mitigate, right? There are things that we can do to mitigate that. Understanding the environment we're in, right, and understanding how, you know, that it's a little bit more difficult than perhaps 3-4 years ago. Focusing on deals that catches people's attention, market, right? If the park is right next to A-class property, right? Kind of like our Sherwood Forest mobile home park in OKC is like right outside the city, right next to the highway, outstanding returns, right? So focusing on those really good deals that is hard for LPs to say, you know, it's kind of hard for me to pass on this one, right? Let me pay attention. Let me at least throw some money on this one. Compared to like a small market that has outstanding returns, right? But it's a smaller market. So maybe right now in this environment, maybe it'll be a good idea not to pursue those. But again, right, it really depends. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. And I think also if you like try to take every deal down under the sun, you also build a reputation that you take everything on. And if you just take on the good ones, and if we send deals out to investors, to our investor base, they're gonna start to realize, oh, we probably should pay attention here because, you know, they don't have deals every week. You know, maybe just like 3 or 4 really good ones every year. and this is one of them. So I think it's also then important for us to also publish that when we kill a deal, why we kill a deal. I think we should probably start doing newsletters about, hey, this is a deal we looked at and that's why we killed it. Maybe don't want to go too much detail because you don't want to like bash sellers and deals, but like just like, deal A, in the Southeast, just be vague. And then we just talk about, why we killed it.
Why didn't we?
Yeah. I think that's going to be important in the future.
It is important. And maybe we can do it during this webinar, right? Just talk about the week, what we learned, and if we killed the deal, why, right? And that way we just throw it on Cashflow Portal, because Cashflow Portal is going to be our CRM from now on.
Yeah.
We can throw the video in there. We can put this video on YouTube and just add the link and just share it with people,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And then we can also take the clips and have shorts on social media.
I like that. That's good. Content creation. Yeah, that's good. I mean, if you look back, we killed almost 400 units in the last 2 months. And we had when we went into the new year, we had over 400 units under contract, and we almost killed them all. We only have 40 left, really. I think it was 419 or so. And we killed almost 400 of them. So the one sole deal that still remains in Sumter, which is super solid, smaller deal, but a nice base hit deal. It's all tenant on homes, is a really strong deal. Yeah. It's the only one that survived from all these parks, all the other ones got killed because of various reasons. The other one was just too heavy of a lift in the market that was declining, obviously. And the other one, income verification wasn't possible, and numbers changed by the week. So that's why we, backed out. I think we should. So we could have, others would have probably pulled through. Like, look at us, we have 1,000 units now. It's only March 2025. Others would have done that. Look at our unit numbers. We're so great. Next over capital. But now we said, now it's not our standard. We're not going to do those deals. They're going to hold us up from growing even more, because that one deal would have kicked us in the butt.
That's what I'm thinking. Because all of these deals, they require energy, right? And time. So I think we're very selective now, but I think we should definitely get a little bit more selective, right? Because if we focus on a nice big deal that requires work, right? But it's like, what, 200 units or whatever, right? Compared to like 2 or 3 small ones that require a lot of work, right? Where should we invest our energy, right?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, to me, it makes more sense to focus on one big deal that's really, really good, right? Compared to little annoying ones, right? Because this is not easy. It is not easy to stabilize a deal. And it's a lot easier to focus on stabilizing one big one than 3 or 4 small ones, right? Different markets, different states. That requires a lot more energy, right? And time. So, yeah.
Exactly right. Because if you have, let's say you have 3 deals, each have 40 pads, that's 120 pads. That means you have 3 pitch decks, you have 3 raises, you have 3 entities, 3 year ends, everything. But if you do one deal that's 150 pads, you have 1 community manager. If it's on the same area, 1 entity, 1 bank account, not 3 bank accounts, 1 pitch deck, not 3, 1 webinar, not 3 webinars.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy if you think about that. So I just brainstorm. That's probably a lot more that's snowballing that you have to do. So that's why, of course, bigger companies go after those bigger deals. There's more meat on the bone. They have overhead. They need the big deals. Talking about 500 or 1,000 units at a time. I mean, there's deals out there that you can buy with 3,000 lots. People selling their whole portfolios off. Not quite there yet, but I think when I underwrite the deals the way we are structured right now, like the 100 to 200 is our sweet spot right now, I believe. Once you go like over 200, then it gets a little bit more like, doesn't cash flow much, but it's more like an equity play where you have higher returns by equity growth if it's in a good market. Yes. Obviously, but the 100, 200, there's enough meat in the bone that everybody can eat and make money, including the investors, and they should make money first before we make money.
Absolutely.
And it makes it so much easier to manage 1 asset instead of 3. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and the more you do it, the more you learn, right?
Oh yeah, every single time.
And going back to understanding the environment we're in, right? Because 3 or 4 years ago, sure, you can take on a lot more of the smaller ones because there's people trying to invest left and right? So it's a lot easier. But understanding the market, shifting gears, right? It's kind of like sports. You understand that the offense just changed your strategy, right? So you have to change your defense, right? You were so used to playing man-to-man defense, and now we're going zone, right? So being able to adapt, that's important, right? Not just sticking to what you do because that's how you do business. That's not the right approach. You need to be able to adapt. Things change, right, rapidly. So
Yeah, that's dangerous if you get used to things.
yeah,
I think in the book I read like one of the stories where there was like family and they always like for Christmas did the ham and the mother always cut off the end of the ham on each side. And they were like, "Why are you doing this?" It's like my mom always did it that way. And then of course mom was invited to ask her, and she's like, "Why did you cut off the end of the ham?" And she's like, "My grandma always did it, or my mom." And they asked then the great grandma, so why are you always doing this? They're like, we had no big oven back then. I always cut the ham off because I couldn't fit it. It's like this habit just like kept rolling for generations for no good reason, just because we were used to it, and they always cut the end of the ham off for no reason. So same thing. I mean, we have to be really dynamic and be fluid and just change like on the spot. And I think that's what makes dynamic companies thrive. There's a lot. The company I left on my W-2, they've been very stagnant in their ways. Like no, we do it this way. I don't care what the competition does. I'm like, the competition does it because they're adapting to the market, and you just gonna stuck in your old ways, and you're still like stuck in 2005 in some ways. It's gonna kill the company one day. If you don't, adapt to the market. So I think that makes a big difference.
A big example of that is Netflix and Blockbuster.
Yeah, exactly.
Blockbuster could have bought Netflix. They were, and they said, "Nah, we're good." Right? Where's Blockbuster now?
I know,
because they weren't willing to adapt.
Yep, exactly. Yep. It's same with like Redbox. You can like go to Redbox. Was kind of like a between Netflix and Blockbuster was like Redbox, where you can go like to CVS or whatever, and then there's like a Redbox outside. Yeah. When I moved here to the US, the Redbox was pretty popular. I actually used it a couple times.
I remember going to Redbox and
getting I know. And now it's like all streaming. Like anything you ever want to watch ever is on any streaming service, and there's so many out there now. It's wild.
I used to get when my DVD was scratched. I used to get really upset.
That was the worst. You go out there, always have a movie night, and you get one of those, and it's like all scratched up with the movies the entire time. Damn it, Steve! You scratched the DVD, but nobody can watch it anymore.
Oh, the good old days. Jeez,
I know.
So we are getting together in the coming weeks. We are going to do a walkthrough of a park. I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be exciting.
Me too. Yeah, me too. It's gonna be the Georgia market. Tim has already a couple parks in Georgia, so it's gonna be good to tag that along with the existing portfolio. So it's gonna be really good. It's close to Tallahassee, which is a strong market in Florida, so that's good. Only like 45 minutes away. Big market, Tallahassee, obviously. A southern state, obviously, no snow. I know in our recent deal in Virginia, they have a lot of snow removal and snow surprises, which we won't have in South Georgia, almost North Florida.
Funny, because when we were walking that park, we asked if it snowed, and they were like, "Yeah, it only snows maybe once or twice a year, only a couple of inches." Bro,
yeah, we got it in the best winter ever, I think.
It's fine, we're making it work.
I mean, didn't James say they had like 18 inches of snow they got last week?
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks ago? Yeah.
And they got snow back to back, right?
Yeah. Never stopped. It would start melting, then they got new snow, and it went 3 or 4 times that way. And that was like 20 degrees, high of 20, low were like in the single digits. Challenging. But we won't have that issue in Cairo, Georgia, thankfully. Although, because the winter was so crazy, there was snow in North Florida, South Georgia, and a couple weeks ago, which they usually don't get. But it was very small. I actually I drove through it when I drove home from Florida.
Really?
Back in January. There was snow there, but it wasn't crazy. I mean, it was like
snow. Or was it frost?
It was snow.
Really?
For sure. There was snow in Florida. Yeah. Yeah, just right across the border. You can see in the woods where the sun doesn't really shine very like because of the tree shade and everything. And that was like, is this snow? It's like, it's weird. And then like you go deeper into Georgia and they got more and more snowy because we went home north, the more we drove, the more snow there was. And then like here was nothing. There was like the weirdest snow patch the East Coast got. That was like actually going like this.
Yeah.
like across northern, like the panhandle of Florida, and then up the coast. Like Charleston was like slammed in snow. It looked like a Star Wars planet.
Charleston?
Like, yeah, where Tim wasn't
Oh,
home, but
wow.
yeah, where Tim lives, there was a lot of
Yeah.
snow. I have other friends in Charleston. They had like snow on the beach, like good amount. It looked like one of the Star Wars planets, you know. So, it looked unreal. And then here, nothing. We're close to the mountains. We had zero. I had a little bit of snow coming down. I heard. I wasn't home. I was in Florida, but when I got home, there was nothing anymore.
That's weird.
So weird. But
Because the beach
yeah,
got the snow, but the mountains really didn't.
I know. That tells you how weird of a winter that was
Yeah,
this
yeah.
year. Yeah, but I think in Cairo, Georgia, it's gonna be a really stable market, and we're still far away enough from the coast to not get like slaughtered by hurricanes, which is good too.
Yeah,
So,
it's inland. It's borderline between Florida and Georgia, right? That little area right there.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it because it looks like a clean park. It looks like a nice park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's what, 90 lots or so?
90 lots. Yeah, 90 lots. Yeah, good mixture between park owned and tenant owned. So almost 50-50 mixture. A couple empty lots as well that we could infill. We don't underwrite, didn't underwrite the infill on that deal. If we do it, it's just a cherry on top. Obviously, since it's a smaller market, trying to be conservative. Just turning some of the vacant homes. There's not many. And then like slowly turning the park on homes into renter-owned homes, and enabling people to get home ownership and buying those homes from us.
Yeah, I love that business model that we have, right? Because a lot of these parks, they're owned by mom and pops, right? So they're park-owned homes. And then our strategy is to come in and give the tenants the ability to own the homes, right? And by doing so, they're responsible for the maintenance of the homes, and that reduces our park expenses. And we just focus on the infrastructure, roads, and making sure that they have everything they need, but they're responsible for the maintenance of their homes. And that's a outstanding strategy, and it's a win-win for everybody because they get the ability to own their homes, right? And reduces our expenses, which means more returns for our investors.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good summary. Yeah, we did that in our recent Spartanburg deal. We're still actively executing the business plan. But we bought 100 units there, and 58 were park-owned homes, and we just sold 3 more this morning, which is awesome. Like all the same time, last day of the month. Love it. We should be at 25 out of 58 right now sold.
Yeah.
And you can just tell, like the mains requests are just like dying off. I haven't got one in 3 weeks, and like we started with 34 in week 1. It was pretty wild. Of course, it's a different story because the previous owner neglected everything during the sales process when we bought it.
Yeah.
It's a different story. That's a whole episode in itself we can talk about. But yeah, it's crazy to see, like, if you buy those homes, in a bundle, and then you start slowly selling them off, how it becomes more and more stabilized, and then the quality of the tenant that comes in that buys those homes, they're usually very handy, and they actually beautify the park while they're doing it, because they go in, they put the skirting on it, they paint the siding outside, or the outside of the home, and everything inside is brand new. So everybody wins. It's beautiful. Really, it's a win-win-win for everybody, for the investors, win for us as operators, and win for the owners, because they had really no other chance really to have home ownership, because many of those markets, like the market I'm in, average home price is $250,000, and some people might watch this. That's really low from a country average perspective. California is a lot higher, but I mean, we sell those homes for like 35, 40,000. It's a lot lower than the average home price here. So if somebody can't afford the average home price, at least that they can afford, and have a nice home in a nice park. Everybody wins. I love that.
Homes are really nice after they're fixed up. They're really nice homes.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And it's pretty cool. I mean, they get it even at a discounted price. If you buy like a brand new mobile home, it's still like $55,000, $65,000. I mean, it's a lot cheaper than buying a normal stick-built house, but still, it's still quite a bit of money. Then you have to pay lot rent when you place the home somewhere, unless you buy the land. And then, go in and just like fix up your own home with, if you buy a used one, like from operators like us, for example, and then you fix it up with your own sweat equity, you're building equity. I mean, that's what they're doing. I mean, they technically can turn around, sell the thing, and pay our note off, basically. They could do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going back to our business model to turn these park-owned homes to tenant-owned homes, um, that takes time and effort, right? That's part of that stabilization of the park, right? And that takes time. So going back to that Sumter deal that we have going on, all the homes are tenant-owned homes, right? So from the beginning, it's a win situation for us, our investors. It's great returns, right? So that's why that Sumter deal is really good, man.
Totally. Yeah, that's the holy grail of mobile home park investing, man. All tenant-owned homes. I mean, we won't get any phone calls really, other than we making phone calls to make sure people pay their rent on time, collections-wise. I think it's going to be the biggest stabilization effort. Will be getting everybody onboarded and then make sure people pay on time. And some people try to push the limits and pay late. It's usually how it goes when you take over.
Yeah.
And after like 2 or 3 months, it will be really quiet, really. So it will be really. I think it will be very, very easy deal to manage over a 5-year time frame. Very easy.
I agree. Yeah, I like that Sumter deal.
Yeah, me too. That's a good one.
So you were driving a park this week in Spartanburg?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Fernwood. Yeah, I drove it. Yeah. Yeah, I was. It's in a kind of rural outside of Spartanburg, like southeast of Spartanburg. But there's a lot of development. There's a brand new gas station across the street. Almost, when you drive out, turn right, and on the left is a new Valero gas station. So there's a brand new roundabout. So the city's actually investing in new roads there, which is a very good sign. And then the park itself, it's really straightforward. It's just like one road down the middle, and you have 6 homes on one side, 7 on the other, and a couple empty lots. It's again kind of like it's all tenant-owned homes too, like all of them are. It's kind of like Sumter, like in a smaller scale, and it really fits nicely to the existing portfolio again. Normally you wouldn't go after 16 lot parks, but this one is like 50 minutes away from our Oasis Park, which is part of our 100 unit we have. So that makes a lot of sense. And they're tenant-owned homes. We don't have to go there all the time for repairs and maintenance. Maybe like a septic tank pumping, but that's one phone call, and we have people on site that can handle it easily. That has septic tanks. But I mean, it's normal out in the country. You have a lot of septic tanks, and I don't personally, I'm not scared of them. I mean, my house is on a septic here. I've been living there for 8 years, so I had to get it pumped once. As long as you maintain it, you're good.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, that's a good deal. I think has a lot of potential. Bring some new homes in a growing market. We might be able to get people moving in there without having to buy new homes. Just helping people with moving costs.
Yeah.
Instead of just spending a lot of money buying new homes, we can just say like, hey, we move your home for $5,000, move into our park. That's cheaper than buying a brand new home, put 10% down, installation costs, etc. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. It's going to be another boring base hit, like in a good way. I mean, when I say boring, it's a good thing because investing should be boring. It should be all drama and like guns blazing every day.
I don't like the drama. I like boring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there shouldn't be much friction. And I was driving there. When was that? Was it on Wednesday? I drove there in the middle of the day. There was like one person walking out of his house. I'm sure he probably works like night shift and he was at home at that time, but there was nobody else there, which is a good sign. And if half the park is out there drinking beer on a Wednesday afternoon, that's not a good sign. No. Or Wednesday morning. I think I was there like 11 a.m. or so. So that's a good sign. That's what I'm usually looking for when I drive through and see if somebody is out there and, if it looks rough. But it was well maintained.
I think that one just makes sense, right? Some things just make sense, even though it's a smaller park and it's next to the other parks, an outstanding market. It just makes sense, right?
Yeah, exactly. I like that one.
The Spartanburg market is really good, right? It's growing
big time. Yeah, a lot. It's kind of funny if you like. This is a prime example. If you look at the numbers, don't just look at Spartanburg City because the county is big from a landscape perspective, geographically. Because if you look at Spartanburg, I think they have like 39,000 people. It's not that big, but the county is like 340,000. The county. So there's a lot of little cities in decent size in that county. And right next to Spartanburg is Greenville County. That's another 300,000+. So it's 600,000 people in that upstate within like a 45-minute radius. So you have to know the market to understand that, because the city itself is not that big, but the county is. Like, for example, we always call the Spartanburg deal, but technically all 4 parks, one is in Moore, one is in Roebuck, 2 on Woodruff, but they're all in Spartanburg County. You
Yeah.
know, they're technically in 3 different towns,
Yeah.
smaller towns. All have like 5, 6, 10,000 people living there. Same with Greenville County. Greenville has, I think, 70,000 people, but the county is, you know, several hundred thousand, obviously. And I live in Simpsonville, which is 30 minutes south of Greenville. And I don't know how many people we have here, 20,000, maybe 30,000. I don't know. It's growing pretty rapidly. And there's other small towns in that area, in that county, that are growing. So that market knowledge is super important. You know, many people that then they don't know that market. They're like, "What's Greenville, South Carolina?" But if you see the growth, and I've been here for the last 13 years, it's really insane how fast they're building. It's nuts.
So Greenville, that's where the airport is, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's expanded, and you can tell there's growth in the area. Everything is just developing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I call GSP. That's Greenville Spartanburg, because that's actually it's right in the middle between the 2 counties. Like if you look on the map, it's like almost splitting the counties, the airport. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, when I went there, you could tell right away. They're growing. There's development. The airport's growing, right?
Yeah.
And the area around it, yeah.
That's a good sign if an airport gets expanded. That's a really good sign. And it's a nice little airport.
Like it.
Not tiny, but it's like small to mid-size.
Yeah, I remember I was freaking out that I was gonna miss my flight, and I was able to just walk right in. So
yeah, yeah, it's still small enough you can just walk in like within 50 minutes to the gate.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, man, it's exciting. We have a lot of projects in the pipeline, and I'm really excited about the near future. Not even the future. I'm excited about the near future.
Yeah, I agree, for sure. There's gonna be a lot of deals coming our way, I'm sure. That's one that we're working on. I told you about yesterday. That's gonna be decent size, 150 pads. I'm not gonna go into details because it's not a contract yet.
Yeah,
but it's ignoring the owner is a big advantage, and he's rooting for us, and we know him really well, and he's a really big player in the market. So I think that's a major advantage. That one excites me. That's a really good deal with 153 pads.
I think that may be the deal of the year potentially.
Yeah, I think that will. It's funny because from a timing perspective, it falls right in line with when we got Spartanburg last year, like end of March, early April, we got on the contract, and that kicked off the year. The tone of the year, you know, that we got Sherwood, we got Clifton Forge, you know, and we got even more on the contract at the end of the year. Didn't close it yet, which we're closing now. But yeah, I think that will set off the year on fire, I think. And then it's like, okay, this is the deal, you know, where you just feel it. Okay, this is going to bring us to the next level. So.
And I feel like our team is just on the same page and firing at the same, you know, at all cylinders and just working well together.
Yeah,
I
sure.
love the team. It's just like a nice little machine that we have going on.
Yeah, everybody's enjoying what they're doing and what they're good at, and then we're always improving. Like we see, okay, maybe we don't do this perfectly. Let's do this a little bit better. You know, like the diligence process. I mean, it gets more and more involved. Like now, we just learned, like, hey, let's ask for estoppel agreements. Like right when we get the PSA signed, not later. They know already. We set the tone. We need estoppels. If that's a problem, let's settle this now before we sign a contract.
Yeah,
you know, it's like stuff like that. Like those are big differences that many don't do. Demanding bank statements and stuff like that, you know, so we can reconciling, and having Ryan on the team with 18 years of accounting experience, taking all that apart for us and like reconcile their bank statements with their P&L, and then we reconcile to my underwriting to make sure everything matches. I mean, that's gold. I don't know anybody that does this. I know the big players probably that process that we built, you know, in the meantime, and we're just getting better and better.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I can't imagine not even that far, like a year from now, right? Where are we going to be? Just a year from now, I think we're going to be in a whole different place.
Yeah, I want to jump in the DeLorean, like Back to the Future, just like 5 years. Just look at the glimpse, like, wow, okay, good. Then let's go back. Let's go back. I want to see the journey, but I just want to see where it goes.
Just want to peek, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe that will ruin it. But
maybe.
Maybe.
No, I think if you keep the same mindset, right, and I think if we stick to our goals and if we stick to our values, that's what I meant. If we stick to our values, good things will happen, right? And you don't change because things change, people change. But if you stick to your values, I think you're doing the right thing and you're on track.
Yeah, I think killing those deals that we did in the last couple months, I think showed our values, because we just didn't go after a deal just because go after a deal. We said this is not what we want to do.
I was
I
so
mean,
happy about that.
Me too.
And I
Yeah.
was happy that we all agreed that it was the right thing to do. Nobody said, no, let's keep pushing, right? Because the numbers look good. If you go by the numbers look good. But it would have been painful.
Yeah.
Right. So do we want pain, or do we want boring? Remember let's go back to boring. I like boring.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's a thing, like you can, I mean, in the underwriting, yes, you look at their financials and you compare what probably is realistic, how you can operate it, but you cannot see the future. I mean, underwriting is really, really difficult. It's like an art, you know, and at some point goes back to the underwriting. It's like, why'd you underwrite it this way? It's like, I didn't know this regulation is going to jack up insurance, you know what I mean? I mean, there's things that can happen is out of your control. That's why you need buffer. But if you're too conservative, you never get a deal done. If you're too aggressive, you're losing money. So it's a really difficult art to master. And I think, like, yeah, that they made sense on paper, but that the reason why we killed that one deal is because we couldn't reconcile the income line, because every time we asked to turn around, like it went from like, oh, we do $400,000 a year to 280, and then it was like around 220, 210. It's like, okay, we just dropped in half the income. And then when we were there, we got a stack this big of papers of turnover they had in the last 2 years on evictions. I mean, this is just there are red flags everywhere, you know.
Red flag after red flag. I think that one was very easy to kill.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard to kill that one.
Yeah.
I think there was another big deal in Ohio. That one was a little different, right? Because it was just too much. But being able to say, yes, let's, we're going to kill this one, right? Even though we could make it work, right?
Yeah.
I think it's important to stick to killing deals. I think I like killing deals because by doing so, you're protecting your investors, right? By doing so, you're minimizing headaches in the future. I'm okay with killing deals as long as we have a good reason why we're killing the deal. I'm okay with it.
I'm actually proud of killing a deal if we do it, because it shows maturity.
Yeah,
it's really important.
We're gonna call you Matthias, the deal killer, the deal
Terminator,
the deal hunter.
Yeah. If it passes my sniff test, it's really a good deal. I mean, the Ohio deal was a different animal because they ran it actually good. Like, if you look at their numbers, they were really organized. They did a good job, the seller, I must say. The problem was he bought a portfolio that's he was catching a falling knife. And there was a lot of money required to turn this thing around.
Yeah.
And the Parks had a really bad reputation because they've been always in like bad shape for a long time. And I think we could have done it. I really truly believe we could have done it. Yeah. But it would have taken so many resources from us to grow in other deals and grow as a company in general that it made no sense to chase this. I mean, the price was fine. I mean, yeah, we were going in and re-underwrote this later after we looked at everything and said, okay, we have to put a lot more capex in. We need to go down the price. We could have maybe agreed on something creative, but we would have just forced something that was never meant to be. And that's why I think I was mature to just like walk away, because that would have been way too ugly. And the funny thing was, there was 5 parks and 2 out of the 5 were really nice. If there would be all like those 2, it would be complete. I think we would be closing this thing right now.
Yeah.
But there were like 3 parks, and especially like 2 out of the 3 that were bad. They were horrific. They were probably the worst I've ever seen. So really rough. So
that says a lot.
Yeah. I've seen a thing or two, like farmers insurance.
Yeah, that one made me happy. That made me happy about being able to kill that deal and how we do business. And at that point, I knew that we were gonna grow the right way, right?
Correct. Yeah. And I'd rather have. I mean, unit counts is a vanity number anyway. At some point, it's muddy. It doesn't matter if you get to like 1,000, 2,000 units, you definitely did something right, obviously, because you not just get there by luck, obviously. So I think we're approaching that number really quickly right now. But I think like just chasing the units, I think it's the wrong metric to chase anyway. I think it's more about like growing the business from a investor return perspective and also like a company value perspective. As long we are growing and the investor can grow, because if we grow their money, they have more money they can give us later for the next deal, if we double their money. Yeah. So I think that's what we have to go at, not just like unit count like others do, like, oh, we need to buy 1,000 units a year, and you're just like chasing units, and then you will make bad deals. Like I just said, like we would have been at 1,000 units if we made all those, because we're almost at 600, and there will be another 400. It will be 1,000 by end of Q1. That would sound nice, but I mean, we would have gotten kicked in the teeth every day though with those deals.
Dude, it would have been fires left and right.
Yeah,
that's a nightmare.
Exactly. It is. I've been in my W2 was that way. They were just like going after growth big time, and they grew. All right, they did, but it came with a lot of processes not being ready for that growth. I mean, they had like a CAGR of like 20-25%, and we were just growing every year like really rapidly. Wow. I mean, when I started that company, they were like a $20 million a year revenue company to like 100 plus. Yeah. So within a couple of years, that was crazy. Internationally too. So they're just like everywhere they open facilities, but the processes were not there, and like the interface between the facilities to the main headquarters were not there. So that was like the prime like example that the world I lived in, where I saw like if you grow too fast, it actually kills you, and they start losing money. And then COVID hit, and they started losing money right before COVID, and COVID accelerated it, and then they were bleeding millions. Now, when I left, we were all profitable again, but it was painful from 2021 to 23, 24 to get profitable again. It's because they were growing so much and just took on projects that made no money, but the revenue was there because the management told us like, "Oh, we're gonna grow this and this much every year, and this is our revenue target." But like the new management that came in that kind of turned everything around, they were like, "I don't care about revenue. I can only eat from profits," and that's the mindset you have to have. Yeah, and it's completely right. I'd rather cut the revenue in half but make more money, because I got rid of all the bad revenue that's losing us money. We had projects that made us 20 million a year, but it cost us 25. I mean, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, that's kind of scary, right? Being in that environment, and it sounds very stressful.
It was stressful, very stressful. Trust me.
Yeah.
But I turned my entity that I was running. I turned this thing around, and we were profitable. For several years, consecutive years. I think 20 and 21 we were not profitable. 22 we turned this thing around. So yeah, we made it. And other entities too. There's like other entities in South Africa did a good job, and in South Korea did a good job. And there's some other ones that they couldn't do it because they got bad projects from headquarters. That wasn't their fault either. They're just like, here's a new project, please run this project, and here's all the tools to run, and please ship to this customer. And the material cost was sometimes higher than the sales price. That's how bad it was.
I see that like getting a bad deal, right? Here's a bad deal, right? It looks okay, let's go for it, right? And then fire, and you get your teeth kicked in. Yeah, I see it's just like getting to a bad deal.
That's why I'm bringing this up, because it's like the same challenge with a different industry. Same thing. Yep.
That is so true.
Yeah, we have investors as well, shareholders, vendors to pay, obviously, suppliers to pay. So it's difficult when you start not making money on a deal. So I think that's why it's important to chase after the real good deals and hone in and go have a sniper rifle, not a shotgun, going after the deals. I think that's a big difference.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like these weekly webinars because we're just chatting, and we're just talking about the good, bad, and the ugly. And I like them.
Yeah, it's also like a nice, almost like a, what's it called, diary of like the journey.
Yeah, dude. Going back in time and watching the first couple.
Yeah.
Man, those rookies.
They should have bought Ohio, those rookies.
They should have bought Ohio. What dummies. Look at Ohio now.
Yeah, I know. That's wild. No, I think we're doing the right. We're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but I think we did a lot of good decisions here recently.
I agree, and I really go back to the partnership. I love how we're on the same page, and we share the same values, and that's huge. Because it's been bumpy, right? Stabilization, some parts is bumpy, and we're right there together, and I think that's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that separates the good running companies and the bad running companies. If there's trouble, if everything is fine, everybody's gonna be friends and singing Kumbaya, we're all friends, everything's great. But then once things like hit the fan, that's where you see if we actually work together. We showed that several times in the last, 6 months.
Yeah. And here we are still pushing forward.
I know. Yeah, not giving up. Yeah. I love that.
We have to finalize our plans for our get together.
Totally.
We have to talk about that and put it on the calendar.
I agree with that. Absolutely. Make this a discussion point on our next asset management call for sure with Tim. Yeah.
Because it's important to get together and just really hang out, super important for us.
Yeah, it's kind of what he does with an Action Academy right now. The mastermind he's in, they just like find Dominican Republic, and then they're just like sitting down talking business, the group, and people set their own goals and stuff. You should do the same thing.
We should.
Yeah. Get like, I don't know, it's gonna be the core group, so we don't need like this gigantic, like I don't know, Action Academy, Brian Lubin, he rented like last time when I went to Tulum in Mexico. He like rented an entire neighborhood of mansions. Like he spent like $500,000 or something on the event. I heard from his podcast. Wow. We don't have to be that crazy because we don't have that many people, but we can get like 1 or 2 units or something somewhere, and just like a couple bedrooms each. Each family gets a bedroom and go from there. Yeah, it's perfect.
It'd be a great time.
Yeah, I know.
Either the beach or the mountains or a lake house, whatever. I think it'd be a great time.
I know. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think we should put it on the calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Tim loves it too. I talked with him about it, and he likes it a lot.
The idea?
Yeah, totally. He's up for it. We just have to really sit down and just like throw a dot on the map and then just say we go there and when, and then we just do it. Like we just have to do it, like just get it done.
Where would you like to go? Is there a place that you haven't been to that you say, I want to go there?
There's a lot of them. We actually booking our vacation here for April tomorrow at the latest. So going to the Caribbean, like Curacao, down the ABC Islands. Yeah, there's a lot of different places I want to go to. Let's see. I mean, there's countless of Bahamas islands you can go to. I mean, you probably can spend a lifetime exploring islands down there. There's so many little islands in Bahamas. Caribbean is always good. Within the US, I mean, Montana is cool as hell.
Yeah.
It'd be nice for summer. I've never been there. That's like a bucket list thing for me. I always want to go to Montana, and it might be great. Like get just like a nice big cabin for everybody, and be just like out there alone. It's like perfect for a mastermind. Be not distracted. Maybe that's a good location.
Agreed.
So, yeah,
let's do that. Because I want to go to Montana as well. I hear great things.
Me too. Yeah, I think Tim never been either, so it might be great for everybody if you just go to Montana. Might be a good one. And in summer, we have to go in the summer. I do like July, August or so.
Yeah,
in the summer, it's the best time to go.
I'm sure they have national parks, right?
Oh yeah, some really good ones. Yeah.
Okay.
There's like this Glacier Mountain something national park where there's a glacier up there that's pretty cool, and there's some other ones. So yeah, it's a really good area, and it's close to, like if you go northwest Montana, it's of course close to Wyoming, and that's beautiful up there as well. You can do like a little road trip and just go also to Wyoming. So that's a good idea.
That is a really good idea. I like that. Yeah. I like that a lot because it's somewhere I haven't been and somewhere I want to go.
Yeah,
I hear great things.
Yeah, there's a lot of other places I want to go to, but I don't think we should fly to Australia or something. It's a little bit too far for a mastermind.
I feel like eventually, right? Eventually,
yeah, for sure. Next couple of years, why not? Yeah, or Fiji Islands and Bora Bora. That's the place I want to go to in the future.
Imagine our webinar from Bora Bora for Fiji.
I love that.
Not too shabby, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we got to this point because we were thinking big, right? So why not keep going? Keep thinking big. Why not? What's stopping us?
Exactly. Just us, ourselves. Yeah, that's it.
What I've learned is that, we tend to have this limited mindset, right? Going to work, get a good job. Dude, there's a bigger world out there. There's a better life, right? So why not pursue it? I always said, if other people can do it, why can't I?
Exactly.
Right? And also another thing I learned is that this commercial real estate thing, it's a team sport.
Totally.
I can't do by myself.
Yeah.
I tried. Impossible.
It's impossible. I mean, you're running a legit business. That's what people don't understand. They see like it's real estate and it's passive, but if you do commercial real estate, it's not passive. It's you're running a business. You're legitimately you're forming an entity and legitimately running a business. I mean, you're founding a new business if you buy a new deal. And I think that's where I know a lot of friends, they are like really killing it in like single family, rentals and duplexes and stuff like that. And they're just like blown away that we are buying like, 100 units here, 135 there, because they cannot wrap their head around it. And they're really good in the single family thing, but they're not good team players. They want to control everything. And I think that's what's holding them back to step into that world what we are in right now, because you need to be a team player. You need to work good in a team. If you're just like this, screwdriver and, everything has to go my way or the highway, doesn't go very far.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work because you need a team. Because, you can do everything yourself, but then you're going to be miserable because it's going to be terrible if you do everything yourself. Accounting, bookkeeping, due diligence, running the deal, everything. It's going to be so much work.
And at some point, you're going to hit the seal, right? Like ceiling. You're going to grow to a certain point, but then you're going to be stuck.
Yeah.
In order to get to that next level and grow more, you definitely need a team. I can't imagine doing all of this by myself. And it's almost impossible. It is impossible.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Which is, I like that actually. I like the saying, if it's easy, everybody would do it. And it's so true. Because if this would be easy, there would be a lot more people doing it. There's not that many out there. It's a small, big world. Of course, there's big players out there. Don't get me wrong. Not a lot of players in our size as well. But it's not like there's not millions and millions of groups out there doing this. It's a small world in a sense.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. I had like one time I had to explain it to somebody that doesn't have any idea what I'm doing, because I had to, at my W2, I had to explain why I'm quitting. And when I explained it, I realized how complex it actually is what we're doing. And he was just like, "You doing what?" He couldn't get it. I don't blame him. And when I explained it, I had to kind of like rephrase things because I was throwing like technical terms at him, assuming he knows what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not on purpose. I'm just like, that's my language now. And so I'm like, oh crap, I can't say that. So he won't get it. So for like a normal average person, it's really hard to grasp what we're doing here. It's not that easy. It's like you see them books and like gurus talk about other people's money, and you don't have to always use your own money. You can grow unlimited. True. But if you have somebody's $50,000 on the line, it's their savings as EMD, and you're right before DD goes out, and now you make the decision: are we going to pull through with this and raise all the money, and the deal's going to be fine, and put investors' money on the line, or are we going to lose this guy's $50,000? Because DD is over. There's a lot of pressure with that too, with other people's money. So
and that's why we're very thorough with reviewing documents and during the due diligence process. It's super important, right? Because that is the number one rule, right? You don't mess with investors' money. I'd rather lose all my money over investors' money.
Totally.
That is not what we do. And that's why I feel like we're doing the right thing. We're spending the time. Shoot, I'm flying out to Georgia here in the next couple of weeks, right? Because I want to make sure that everything lines up and everything's in shape, everything is good, and everything is going to play out to the expected plan, right? The business plan that we have. So otherwise, I wouldn't be taking time and traveling out there. I want to make sure everything's fine for my investors. It's super, super important.
It is. Yeah, and you come over from New Mexico. I mean, it's not a short flight, and you spend thousands and thousands of dollars just like travel expenses you have. And remember, you went to that one deal we killed. You flew over there for a day and a half, 2 days, and then it's you bring your equipment, doing drone footage and everything. That's an investment, and then not always the money comes back because we kill the deal. But we have to make sure to protect the investors' money. That's why we're doing it, right? So
that's very good. And I don't mind, right? I happily do it.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Because it gives me a peace of mind that I got to put my eyes on it, right? To make sure everything's fine and everything, as expected. Because like you said, right, on paper, everything looks great. But once you get there and you start digging and you start looking into things, you find red flags that are not on that spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, that's when we start killing deals.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's nothing, you cannot understate like the good old human gut feel can tell you a lot when you're there. You know, you just walk into a park and then it's just like,
Yeah,
yeah, this is good. It's a good place to live, you know? And sometimes you're like, nope, I don't feel it. Not good at all. So that's how Ohio was.
I don't know if this happened to you, but a lot of the mentors I talk to, they always tell me to listen to that gut feeling, right? If you don't feel right about something, dig a little deeper because there's something behind that gut feeling. And it's
Yeah,
so true. It's so true. We have disclosed a lot of stuff. Once we start pulling the thread on some of these red flags.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my other mentor that's pretty big in the field told me the same thing. When we brought that one deal up to him, like, hey, we discovered this. And he didn't tell us yes to continue. He didn't tell us no to stop. He just said, what does your gut say? And we just said, our
Yeah.
gut says hell no. He's like, there's your answer. You
Yeah.
know, always trust your gut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that's how you get in trouble.
totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because at that point, you're not being true to yourself, right?
Yeah. And that will never go away. You're going to have that deal with that bad gut feel. It's like, oh, man, I knew it. It's a bad deal. You know, I knew it. Then it goes south and then it just feels even worse because you didn't stop it. So,
And now you're in deep.
yeah. 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 And you have investors' money on the line. You know, you're trying to make the returns and try to be, have to force the deal operated like super tightly, using a lot of resources to meet the returns. If you can even meet them, if you go out on a limb, that's the worst case scenario. You cannot meet the returns. I mean, investing is dangerous. I mean, our investors know that, but we want to make sure we hit every single return that we're promising easily. The deals we're buying, we always want to make sure they can at least hit those returns, because I underwrite very conservatively.
Yeah.
There's a lot that can go wrong with the deal that we can still like offset some of the setbacks to still pay the investor returns.
Yeah.
We won't get paid, but at least the investors get paid. That means we can actually continuing making deals because our investors stay happy.
So I wouldn't say that investing is kind of dangerous. I just think that there's a risk to every investment. And my goal is to minimize that risk as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
When we look at deals, we want to minimize that risk as much as possible. There's always, risk. Which is why the Sumter deal, right? The fact that they're all already tenant owned homes, that's, lowering that risk, right? Some of these things you look into, it's like, all right, it's halfway there, right? Now we can just go in and do these other changes to minimize expenses and improve profit, right? So every investment is risky, but I think our goal is to minimize that risk for us, our investors, and the company.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. You can never eliminate it 100%, but we get it down to close to zero, or risk-free investment as much as possible. Buying good deals and vet them really well.
Yeah,
strongly.
And kind of like investing in the market, right? Stock market. There's a risk, right? Something can happen tomorrow, and there goes your investment. It takes a hit. And sure, it can come up at a later point, right? But every investment has a certain level of risk. What I like about what we're doing is that I feel like I'm navigating my own ship, right? We can do things to shift gears and try to save certain things, right? If it starts going down, right? We control that ship compared to like putting my money in the stock market. There's nothing really I can do. It's just grab some popcorn and watch the show.
Yeah, that's passive income. But you have zero control though, because if there's a scandal that company and they're tanking 20-30%, it's
And I'm not saying you shouldn't invest in the stock market. You have to diversify. I have money in the stock market, right?
Me too.
You have to diversify, right?
Absolutely.
If something doesn't work, something else will be working, right? But what I like about what we're doing with commercial real estate is that we control that our ship. Something it gets windy over here. Okay, let's do something, right? Let's go this way, right? Compared to having somebody else doing it for you.
Yeah, it never goes to zero, because it's backed by real estate. That's why it's incredibly safe.
Yeah, it's
safe investment, because the number one need that somebody needs is housing. Food, housing. Those are the main things that you need in life.
And when you talk about safe and investing in commercial real estate, mobile home parks, right? Somebody's going to need housing. The economy, when it tanks, whoever has an apartment is going to look for something a little cheaper, right? Because times are rough. So that's where mobile home parks come in to play. And Which is why we want to make sure that these parks are nice and clean. I want to get over that stigma that parks are a certain kind of way, right? Because they can be really nice parks. Our Sherwood Forest Park in OKC, man, that doesn't feel like a mobile home park. It
No,
feels
it
like
doesn't.
a community, right? It's like a neighborhood, a lot of trees, a lot of kids playing. I envision all parks being like that, right? Giving people a nice place to live, and not that stereotypical mobile home park image that people have.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's trailer parks and there's manufactured housing communities. You
Yeah,
know, a big difference. Big difference sometimes.
huge difference.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all. Cool.
Awesome.
So we
All
have
right.
4 minutes left in our call. You think that VA, what's his name?
Rail.
Raul, you think he can chop this up?
Yeah, I have a call with him in 3 minutes. I think with Google Meets, it can take an hour or more to get that recording, uploaded into your own Google Drive.
Yeah.
I send it to him and just tell him like, hey, just chop out some nuggets, and then I can use CapCut to make some shorts out
Sweet.
of it. Yeah. So I would tell him like just to look at what you were saying. You dropped some bombs, I dropped some bombs, and you can maybe put like 2 folders in like, hey, this is Vinny's shorts, this is Matthias shorts, and I can send you a link.
You know what I like about that is that we can actually, we're going to have multiple clips,